Welcome back to It Starts Now, the Happy Hour Finance and Business. My name is Stanley. I'm here with a special guest. Her name is Samia Gore. She is the author and CEO of Body Complete RX, and we're here to discuss all the nutritious, all the supplements, all the good stuff that you're supposed to have in your body, and to keep you right, to keep you fit, to keep you healthy, and all the wellness, good stuff. We're going to talk about it today. So please welcome Samia Gore.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Glad to have you. Now, we're going to dive in. And one thing I want to say, you have an amazing story.
Thank you.
Amazing story. So let's start from the beginning.
Oh, let's start from the beginning.
All right. So let's introduce yourself one more time.
So my name is Samia Gore. As you said, I'm the founder and CEO of Body Complete RX. We are the first Black woman-owned and formulated plant-based supplement system. We'll be launching in Vitamin Shop on August 1st, so we're very proud about that. And, you know, my journey has been something that's been a little bit amazing. A lot of people who have followed me have seen the growth since the beginning. So how did Body Complete RX start? Okay, so in 2015, I actually started Instagram page and shared a journey that I went on at that time of losing weight after having my son, who's now 7. I gained like 80 pounds, as a lot of women do during pregnancy, pick up, considerable amount of weight, and was looking to, 1, lose that, and then 2, embark on a mommy makeover journey, which at that time in 2014, 2015, it was kind of a taboo thing in the African American community. Like Black women weren't really talking about having plastic surgeries. So I grew a large following because of that. Started sharing my weight loss journey, was sharing my plastic surgery journey, and grew over 150,000 followers over just sharing that personal journey of mine. And during that journey and over the years, I started to recognize and realize, like, okay, people, it's not just about like plastic surgery, right? Like, you have to be responsible, you have to be healthy, you have to take care of your body. And I noticed that in that particular community, there was like, people would have these procedures and then just really not live a healthy lifestyle, and then go right back and have another one and then not live a healthy, and it was just like a cycle. And I personally did not like that cycle, and I wanted to do something about it. So I started sharing about the journey that I was on at that time, more so because I had already gone through my mommy makeover. So I was more so on a health journey, just living right, getting right, figuring out my supplements, what was good for me, what did I need to, in order for me to feel healthy and well, and what could I give to this community to help them go on these journeys in a healthier way, right? So our first product offering, I researched and found a laboratory to work with, and our first product offering was actually a weight management kit that we offered, and a lot of our customers, that's kind of how our brand blew up. It was plant-based supplements, so safer than something that's stronger, to help with weight management and weight loss. So those people who were following me at that time could go on these journeys at a healthy weight, and possibly, have them have a healthier process through that. And then, that grew. A lot of celebrities actually started using my product. At the time, a lot of celebrities followed my page because of the plastic surgery content. But then they saw like, oh, okay, like she's shifting into a healthy lifestyle. Let's see what that's about. And so they started using my product. And one celebrity in particular, her name is Delicious. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Delicious.
Yes.
A lot of people, know her from Flavor of Love. And she actually was using the product and was using it for several months and had been teasing on her social media. Like, people were seeing her lose weight. She was working out, getting healthy. She's like, I've been using this amazing product. I'm going to share with you guys later, but I'm looking at her Instagram like, I don't know what product she's using. I hope she's using mine because I know she follows me, but I wasn't sure. So one night she shared, what the product was that she was using. And up until that point, we had, good revenues in terms of, sales and things like that. But it wasn't until then that things like really like lifted, because now it was like, like a mass audience was able to see the product and see the brand. And we've grown and just organically have grown since then. We have a large customer base, over 200,000 customers. we have recently rebranded, like I shared in December, we launched our rebrand. So now we don't just have weight management products. We have products for any person. So to meet your lifestyle, we have a men's multivitamin, we have women's multivitamin. And these products, again, were formulated by a Black woman doctor. Her name is Dr. Ruby Lathan, who actually cured herself of cancer in 2017 from a plant-based diet. So, having her expertise and her input with our laboratory and creating these products that are made, for everyone, but with us in mind, it was very important to me. As I was, building my brand and I was being invited into spaces with supplement company owners, I looked around and I was really the only Black woman in those spaces. And for me, that said a lot. It was like, okay, well then who is making our supplements? So I'm, looking into the owners and CEOs of these companies that are the brands that we support and that we, represent and, share with the world. And I'm like, these products weren't even made with us in mind.
Right.
So I did something about it. And so now we have the full collection of Body Completer X, which, like I said, is now the first Black woman-owned and formulated plant-based supplement system.
Did you think that you were going to tap into this male-dominated industry and survive this long and do so well? Because you're thriving right now. Did you have that in mind when you first started?
Not at all. I didn't know what the industry was dominated by, And I think that's probably a good thing. Some people may go into situations like, and they are looking at the scope of things like, in order to do this, that person, they started with $1 million, or they started with, this kind of assets or whatever, or, maybe they had these kind of connections. Right. I was just like, I need to find a laboratory and find a doctor to work with so we can create products that work for us. And I wasn't thinking about any, all of the outside. So now that the brand has grown and we've grown to, where we are today, it's like, and getting the recognition, that we are competing with this male-dominated industry and actually making a dent in it. There's big brands that, pay attention to us, and we know that. And so, that to me is really special. And I feel like it should be special not just for me, but also for everybody in our community and women who look like me, because, again, there's not a lot of us out here. So it's important.
You bootstrap most of all of this, right? Do you think you still need some of these brands? You think these brands going to add more value, or
what do you mean brands like?
As far as the major brands that that's keeping an eye out for, let's say Target, let's say GNC, or do you think that you need them at this point, or?
So when I say brands keeping an eye out, I meant like competitors.
Okay.
Like competitor brands that we know that are, really, really booming in this space, but they pay attention to Body Completer X, and we know that. And what I'm in terms of your question with the retail space, is that what you're asking about?
Correct.
Okay. So we are launching in Vitamin Shop in August 1st. And I do feel like retail is very important. Retail is accessible to a lot of people. Placing orders online is, accessible, but some people want to just walk in a store and pick up what they want when they want it. Sometimes we have customers, and I'm even that person. Sometimes if I don't have something on a subscription order, I forget about it, and then I'll look up and I'll be out of it, right? And then it's like, okay, I could place an order and wait 3 to 5 days, or I could walk over to Vitamin Shop and pick it up, right? So we want to make sure that our products, one, are accessible. Two, retail, I feel like, is an opportunity for, other eyes to be on your brand that are not necessarily locked into your social media or referrals from friends and family. So it's a necessary process, I feel like, in this growth process of the brand. And we're really excited to be in Vitamin Shop. We'll be launching in all 730 plus Vitamin Shops over the U.S. August 1st, and having further conversations with other retailers right now. We're really excited about it.
Congratulations. That's a big leap.
Thank you.
Let me ask you one thing. In the beginning, when you started this whole process, how much of it that you leaned on friends or family? How much of it did you get? None. So how were you able to grow it so quickly?
I'm literally we're 4 years in business. We'll be 5 years next year, January. And this year, I was thinking about this the other day. It actually brought me to tears. So I was like, for many years, for the first 3 years, I really didn't put myself in my brand. And the reason why was because I knew that people did not normally see people who look like me owning brands like that. people normally see Black women owning hair companies, clothing companies, like doing entertainment, things like that. But we don't see Black women owning supplement companies. So I never included myself in my brand. Like, my face wasn't on my website. I wasn't really, people who had followed me for years knew it was my brand. But from my brand side, our consumers were just word of mouth consumers, people who use the product, love the product. It wasn't friends and family at all. Now that, I've been putting myself more in my brand, I'm receiving a lot of love from friends and family, and it feels good, to feel like, oh wow, like they care, they're supporting now. And, it's a cool thing, it's a fun thing. But no, from the beginning, my supporters were really strangers, people who didn't know me. Now I have friends and family who are supporting the brand and stuff, and that's really cool too. So
you think that the reason they supported you because the brand was so good?
You mean
the product,
strangers?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how the brand has organically grown. Our social media has over 200,000 followers. Like, our brand is, continuing to excel in spaces that, again, we're not usually seen in. So that is how the brand has grown, really, from just organic traffic, people referring our products to their friends and family, and yeah, it's been cool.
You started this as a mother of 4.
Yeah.
And you were working during that time period, right? I don't know the exact time frame or exact money amount, but I know that there was a point that you were making a significant amount of money at work, but then you were making more than that as your side gig for like 2 years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So is it safe to say that you were basically close to a millionaire at a job?
Right.
And you were able to grow this company.
Right.
Now, that's a lot of work, juggling back and forth. How did you manage that?
So I always say that for somebody to understand, it is a lot of work. It was a lot of work to work full time, have 4 kids, and be at nighttime packing orders. I posted a picture yesterday on my social media of me in 2017, and I was pushing this cart, in the back of a USPS drop-off location. I was pushing a cart up a ramp, huge cart with packages. And those were packages that I packed myself in my garage late at night, and balancing family life and work life. And it wasn't easy, which is why I ultimately had to make the decision when I did to leave. But I always say that in order to understand my grind and my hustle, you kind of have to understand like my history. So, just not only my history, but I guess the person that I am. I had 3 children by the age of 25. I also had my master's degree by the age of 25 and worked a full-time job.
Wow.
Right. So I'm a person that juggles a lot. I'm used to juggling a lot. I saw my mother. She worked 2 jobs. She was a very hard worker. And so it's just in me, I guess, like late nights, early mornings. Like you see, we got on the road at 4, went to sleep at 11 last night, on the road at 4 a.m. to be here this morning. So, but I feel like when it's something that you are passionate about, it gives you that like energy to like just keep going. Like you asked me earlier, like how are you going to have the energy to keep going? Like I'm just pushing through because I know that what we're doing with my brand right now is so special, and I don't think that people understand the magnitude of it right now, but they will soon. And I'm excited about that, and I want to just put everything that I can into it right now so that people will see like, wow, like when everything eventually blows up, it's gonna be like, okay, like I see why she was grinding nights and mornings and stuff. So yeah.
First of all, you're right, because I received the text at 5 something. We're en route on our way, so I was like, wow, it's dedication, because you gave your commitment and you followed through on the commitment, which we really appreciate, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my thing is like, you started this 2 years. During that 2 years period, you were making a certain amount of money. Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you take this?
Leave my job.
Why didn't you leave your job? What prolonged the decision for you to leave the job when you could have dived in and probably made headway a lot sooner? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I feel like I truly believe, I'm very much so in tune with my faith, and I believe that God definitely guides my decisions, and everything happens in its right time, right? So so for me, I tell people, you start a side hustle. That's cool. But you don't necessarily have to quit your full-time job, because that side hustle, you really don't know how that's going to go, you know, like, and you want to be able to move through your business in a way that, like, if this happens wrong, that happens, it just doesn't matter, because I still have this job that's going to pay my mortgage, it's going to pay my car note. I'm good, in my life. And so I can move how I want to move in my business and make different decisions. When you are, not necessarily thinking that way, you can, make mistakes. So I feel like my decision to stay I used to work for the federal government. And like you said, I was making 6 figures a year. And for 2 years before I left, I was making 6 figures a month in our business. And again, but for me, I had to feel comfortable, and I had to feel comfortable to initially to
After
walk.
2 years of making 6 figures a month.
Yeah, but then also you have to understand bootstrapping, right? So bootstrapping, people don't understand necessarily the concept of that. They're like, you made $300,000 this month. Yeah, but I also spent $50,000 on marketing. I also spent $100,000 in product and shipping. Like I also spent $30,000 in, whatever bill it may be. So people need to, and then you have to turn around as a bootstrapping to re-up on product so you can reinvest. So I started $5,000, investment, re-up, to millions in inventory. So that too, was another deciding factor. Like, yeah, I could have been like, oh shit, I made 6 figures this month, let's shut this down. I'm about to go live in an island. I'm taking it, but my goals for my brand are much bigger than that. And so that is why I decided to, stay with my employment for a couple years while I was doing what I was doing my business till I was comfortable and ready.
Okay. Now with you did HR, correct?
Yes.
Now, do you think that being in human resource helped you or played a big part in learning business? Because was business one of your acronyms or something that you felt comfortable with, or you just learned as you were going?
So I have a master's in business.
Okay.
I have a bachelor's in psychology and sociology. And I feel like all of that has prepared me for today. Understanding, I'm not a marketing expert, right? But like my team, I have a marketing expert on my team who looks to me for guidance and advice. And it's not because she's not good at what she does. She's excellent at what she does. But she also recognizes that I have a little special flair too, as a CEO, as a business owner, and then also as somebody who has, just like life experiences. So I'm not a marketing person, but that's even a skill too. And that's something, going through business school, you take marketing classes. So all of those things I feel like have prepared me for, who I am today, the way that I'm able to do things today. Absolutely.
And what are some of the lessons learned that you took along the way that you felt like, what, this had such an impact that I'm going to hold on to this and help you navigate through?
Lessons learned just like in business? In
business, or just in general as far as helping you to this journey, to this point.
I feel like, I don't know if you consider that like a lesson learned. I've had a lot of lessons learned in business, but one thing I feel like keeps me grounded in, to this point, like you asked, is my faith. Really, it's not like a lesson learned, but it's more so like God always shows me and shows up for me in ways that like it can't be explained. So then I know, like, even in times of like stress, like, there's, it's not always ups, it's also downs, right? So even in down times, like, it's like, all right, I know you didn't position me all the way up to here for this to not work out. So though that's like, for me, what keeps me like, all right, I know things are going to keep moving. I know things are going to keep going, because it's not really a lesson learned, but it's something that I know for a fact. So it's with my faith. So as long as that I know I'm good with God, then we good.
That's a strong belief system, which, by the way, I like. Do you think that faith in, we talk about it all the time. Listen, I believe in God. I believe in the universe. You know, I believe in my heart that this is going to work, right? But a lot of us, we use faith as in business. Can you? I want to say this.
You have to do the work.
You have to do the work.
You have
Not
to have
only
the
that,
faith, but you have to do the work.
well, faith without works is
exactly.
nothing, right? We know that,
right?
But the thing I want to ask you is that when it comes to faith, I think a lot of times people put faith in within business, right? A lot, right? Instead of saying, you know what, I still gotta learn the business, I still gotta develop, I still gotta learn how I'm gonna put out the product, how I'm gonna distribute, how I'm, you know, different phases of the whole entrepreneurship thing. But then you look at faith as, all right, I have a strong belief I'm gonna go without knowing some of these details, and it's gonna work out. Now, do you believe in that? Do you believe that you can figure things out as you go because your faith is so strong?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, not even just because my faith is so strong. I feel like because my faith is so strong, but also because of who God made me to be. You know, like absolutely, I can navigate through anything, and yeah. I mean, yes, I've had so many different things in my life. I mean, before even business, and then, like I said, I was a young mother. You know, I had my daughter, my 19-year-old. I had her when I was a sophomore in college. You know, and me and my ex-husband, you know, we went on to have 2 more kids at a very early age. We struggled, you know, and I had to navigate through those waters without knowing what was ahead of me, but also knowing that I had 3 kids that are depending on me, right?
Right.
So I feel like those experiences prepare you for anything. Like I look at now, I'm like, I've had my stuff put out on the corner. Like I've had a foreclosed house. You know, I've had bankruptcy. You know, I've gone through literally everything that people fear, and have come out of that on the other side. So
does that give you strength?
Yeah, because it's like you can't fear when you've gone through certain things. Like I could lose everything because I've lost everything before, and I know what that looks like. Right.
Right.
So maybe it's uncomfortable, but I don't fear it because I've been through it.
And during that time, I'm imagining it's painful, it hurts, but then time do heal.
Yeah.
And then you figure it out, and then you move on.
Yeah, and then you look back at those experiences like, yo, like God made me go through that. So now when I look back, I remember, you know, that taught me this lesson. I really do believe that, you know, sometimes when we go through struggles and stuff, we don't know why we're going through them, but then we always look back and say, I needed to go through that for whatever reason. It always makes sense. Even if it was tough, it was something that you needed at that time. For me, that's how I always look at things. So, yeah.
Yeah, FaZe used to say something like that too. It's like when things were going bad, he would always say, you know, it might be a blessing in disguise that we're not paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because even though we're going through this struggle right now, or whatever we're going through at that time period, there's a reason behind it we're not aware of at that moment. But it could be preparing us to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or it could be avoiding.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So this past November, so Black Friday is normally our busiest week of the year, right? And also we were preparing for our rebrand launch, which launched at the end of December or middle December. So it was a huge time, and we had a big giant photo shoot in Atlanta, like just a very busy time. And my assistant quit on me, like,
wow,
right before I was about to get on a plane, right?
Right.
Just quit. Just like, I quit. And I was like in tears, like on the floor in tears, like just upset, in tears, so upset. And, you know, I had to push through. Still got on the plane, still went.
Show must go on.
Show must go on. So, you know, I had some family members who had reached out before and wanted to work for the brand business. Like, you know, hit up my cousin. She had worked for me a little bit before, and she was on it, available. Now that I look back, the person that quit on me, we had it was a hard working relationship. We didn't really have great communication, even though she was, you know, someone working for me, right. You know, but I wasn't able to really communicate to her like I need to. And so now looking back, it's like God did that because he knew this season that we're entering in, I can't have anybody close relation in my company that I cannot talk to. Because we got to talk every day. We got to get through. There's a lot of stuff going on, getting into retail. It's a lot of stuff. So now I look back, and now things are actually thriving even more now that, someone else
Right.
has stepped into her role and stepped up. So it's things like that. It's like, at that time it was like, I'm crying. I'm like, oh my
Right.
God, I can't believe this happened. But it's like, you look back and like, oh God, you did that for a reason. Okay, I get you. So,
Yeah, I like that story, by the way, because a lot of times we view disconnects as a bad thing, and sometimes a disconnect is something that's probably good because you got to figure out why are we having this disconnect, and it might be because the communication language is different. You have one way of communicating, I may have another way, and then we got to find ground. But if we can't find ground, that means it's time to dissolve that
Yes,
relationship.
absolutely.
So I totally agree, and I'm glad it worked out for you.
Yeah.
That
Yes, it did. It worked out very well.
And then from this point on, right, without giving too much secrets or anything,
Okay.
from this point, where do you see your company going to? Because you got a lot of things going on. You got your author. You have all these supplements that's coming. I was actually on the site, right? I was telling my wife I was on the site because I was going to make some purchases before you
Nice.
come in, right? So I'm going through the thing and I saw like so many things. Stuff for gut. You have a lot. Yeah, you have a lot of things on there.
We've tapped into everything in the wellness space.
But then you explain on what I like about the site. You explain what each thing, the benefits and the value that each of them bring, and which I like. So where do you see this company in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years? Because it seems like you're touching on everything right now.
We are, and I see our company doing great things in the next 3 to 5 years. And I don't want to put like any, numbers or anything like that. But again, what Body Completer X is and what we're doing right now, there's nothing like us right now in this space. And our brand is a genuine brand. It's not a celebrity brand. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a mom of 4 who thought enough to say, hey, let me find a nutritionist and a doctor to help me formulate some formulas that work for me. And then they worked for me, and then they worked for everybody else, So, I see great things for our brand and business, but I really feel like one of the important things will be the support that we see from our community. Like, I think that it's very important that our community understands and recognizes that our brand is special and that we're building something for, people who look like us, people of color, people who look like us. And that is very important because we are not represented in this wellness space at all. So I'm hoping that people will start to see that tide. And I'm seeing it. We have, I have friends and customers reaching out like, I just switched to your multivitamin. I just switched. And not just because we're a Black owned brand. Our ingredients and our formulas are superior. We did our homework. We looked at the top brands that are currently, on the market, and we looked at the formulas and ingredients, and we did our best to make sure that ours was the best on the shelf, and it is. So that's why I want people to support us, not just because we're a Black woman-owned brand or a small business. Support us because we actually have products that are better than formulas on the shelf, and at the same price point. So that's why.
This drive that you have, well, before I get into that, we're so grateful that you entered into this ecosystem because now you're creating something that's so valuable for us and in the community, but also everybody benefits from it. It's not just us, right? Because anybody could benefit from it.
Absolutely.
So, which we appreciate. But this drive that you have, where did it come from?
Where did my drive come from? I mean, again, I grew up seeing hardworking people in my life. Seeing my mom work 2 jobs, 2 full-time jobs, and making sure that I was well taken care of. And my father was a hardworking person as an entertainer, and I just had aunts who were very successful in their lives, and I just grew up with a lot of people around me. Positive images. I saw positive images. I did through my life, and always wanted to do something, be something, which again is why, I'm, 3 kids, but it's still a master's degree by 25. It's just like, I'm still going to get it. I'm still going to do it. So I think that just seeing positive images around me, my family life, has really stuck with me.
Before we end this, what's a morning routine for you? Because it seems like you're busy. So,
I am busy.
So what's a daily routine or something that you could give?
Okay. Well, morning routine, wake up and take your supplements, right? Drink some tea. I drink dandelion tea. I share that on my stories.
Before you go on that, break down the times too. Give me some ideas for time.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe like 5:30 a.m. Like, waking up, getting started, getting my supplements, getting my tea in, eating something a little light like an apple. I normally have a workout session with my trainer at 7 a.m. 4 days a week. So going to my training session, working out and get done, and then getting right into work. And pretty much my work days are pretty full, just because it's a lot going on right now. So, I mean, it's a lot. but I definitely feel like my morning routine, especially including like my workout, is something that is so critical for me right now. Just because like it gets me going. It's something that, again, I've adopted as a lifestyle, and for me it's so important because it really gets my mind working, going, and ready for my day when I'm ready to like get into meetings. So
I started this meditation thing. I get up around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and when I'm able to get up at around that time, I'm gonna be honest. Some days I don't make it up that early, but when I do, this meditation thing really helps out, because then it kind of like gets me focused, and I know exactly what I'm gonna do throughout the day, and it keeps me on track, right? Because I visualize it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do X, 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 Y, and Z, right? Do you meditate? Do you have something that you find that keeps you locked in and focused?
I do meditate, but not regularly, like every morning. It depends on, whatever is going on. I think more so what probably keeps me locked in and focused is like prayer. So it's not the same as meditation, but it's like, all right, I'm thinking about like what needs to be done, placing it in God's hands, so really I'm thinking about all the things that are on my plate, so that's kind of like meditation, because you kind of, in meditation, you're thinking about, the things that are in front of you, or things that you need to, do, or whatever the case may be. So those are things that I go through in my own prayers, and, and then I'm able to release that, and say, okay, God, you take this, and I'm gonna start my day.
That's good. Because that keeps you grounded as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So before we end this, I just want to say once thank you. And if you laying down a path, basically, you're putting down the footprints for somebody else to follow. A young girl that's looking up to you and saying, you know what, if she did it, I can do it too.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give them?
The advice I would give them is to go for it. Don't be discouraged. Fortunately for them, there'll be someone that they can look up to and say, that's how she did it. I didn't really necessarily have that. So I feel good about that. And actually there have been people who have come to me for advice, for guidance, who are looking to, get into this world and space. And I've provided that. And I think it's so cool. Like, it's just like, wow, like,
yeah,
I'm a thought leader.
Yeah, you're a role model. You're everything right now, especially to the young girls that really understand what the space that you're in right now within this ecosystem. So once they really understand that you're making such a movement, such a powerful movement within a male-dominated industry, it says a lot. And then it's going to inspire them, motivate them to really want to follow after you. Like I said, you're laying down the footprints already. The only thing they have to do is just put their feet in and then follow you through. So I think that's a beautiful thing. And it is going to inspire so many young people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, because there's so much room for us, in these spaces. There's so much room. Again, we're going to be the first Black woman-owned product at Vitamin Shop in their weight management category. The first. That's kind of crazy, right?
That's impressive.
And then having conversations with other major retailers.
Okay.
with other major retailers right now who also are in that same space who do not have supplements from Black women-owned companies. So
Okay.
I think that's really special.
And I see that the sneakers is popping right now.
Thank you.
Somebody wants to shout out for it.
Oh, yeah. so J's are my thing. So that's why. So I'm always in J's. I'm always wearing
So
sneakers.
you gave up the heels for the J's.
I did. I gave up the heels. I'll be 40 on June 25th.
Right.
And a lot of my followers, it's kind of a funny thing now, but a lot of my followers, I've been talking about this for 2 years, like
Right.
heels and pain and heels. Right. So now I've finally settled on the sneakers. So yeah.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Because I was watching your IG and you said, I know I gave up the heels, but this one right here. And I'm like, you gave up the heels. Like I've never.
Right. You didn't know what I was talking about.
Right, I didn't know what he was talking about. But for me, like, you know, you seldomly, if rare, do you hear any females say, I'm giving up heels?
Oh yeah.
And for somebody to say, I'm giving up heels for the sneakers, I was like, what?
That's funny. You know what? So many of my friends, we're actually all in the same space. Like I don't know if 40 is the thing, but we're all like.
Oh, so that's trending.
It is. It's a trending thing. Right. All of my friends, we're all into J's now. Like it's like who's got the hottest ones? I of course do, but it's just jokes. But, sorry, friends.
Hey, we got to step up our game, man. We got to step up our game.
Sorry, friends, but no, like it's like a thing. Like we're all like sharing pictures in our text messages. Like these are the ones I just got and stuff. So it's a thing now. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Now I know it's trending. I got to step up my game, man. Nelly, we got to step up our game. So I can't leave without shouting out FaZe for making this happen. And I want to thank him because we really wanted to have you on the show. Your story is incredible. To mother of four, to be working at a full-time job, making 6 figures, and then your side gig making 6 figures a month. That's impressive of its own. Mm-hmm. And now the company has grew, it's scaling to unlimited possibilities, right? Because sky's the limit right now. And from what I've seen, you guys tapped into every corner. Mm-hmm. So it's only a matter of time before it just like really blow up to be the brand.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to be a household name. We want your supplements, it's Body Complete RX. And the name, it's so funny because the name that it's so perfect for today.
How did you get the name?
I don't know. I was just thinking like body. At first it started out as Body by Bella Barbies because that was my, like I said, my mommy makeover journey, and I had an Instagram name called Bella Barbie, so that was the original name of the product. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, you saw what I'm?
Thank God it switched.
Yes, because
I couldn't drink something like that.
So when the product started blowing up, people were like, well, can men use it? Because it's called Bella Barbies, 1. 2, they're like, well, is this for somebody who had a mommy makeover? So it was confusion. So I was like, I got to do something else. So then I sat and thought, and I finally came up with Body Complete RX. And now today, the name of the brand is so perfect because we are a complete wellness system now. We have everything, like you said, for anybody. Whether you're just on a healthy life journey, whether weight management is your concern, whether beauty is your concern, we have something for everyone. Our plant-based protein, we make it with sweet potato and beetroot. Why do we put sweet potato and beetroot into our protein? Because sweet potato and beetroot helps with heart disease, diabetes, in those fighting those diseases, right? Those particular supplements help with that. So our community, we're known, or not known, but we have the highest rates of diabetes, hypertension. Mm-hmm. My stepfather passed when I was 14 of diabetes. So when I say that we make our supplements, it's for everyone, all inclusive, but we kept our community in mind. Like, what are the health disparities that we face, and what can we do for our supplements to make them just a little bit better to help combat some of those health disparities. So that's what I mean by when I say that our supplements are made with us in mind.
Got it. Yeah. We're gonna end it with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. One more time for Samaya, and it's just been an outstanding story. and their journey seems to me like it's just getting started. All right, guys, have a good night.